So the media has called the presidency. They've declared Joe Biden the winner of the presidency. Now, the media cannot call the presidency. It has to be, all the votes have to be confirmed and all that before we know who the president really is. And President Trump already has his case going before the courts Monday, and the media knows that. And so there's two reasons that the media has done this. The first reason is they want to cover up the corruption. Now, the media knows people. They know that it's widespread election fraud going on. They know this. That's why they keep saying, we don't see any evidence. Okay, well, you're a journalist. Okay, it's your job to go out and get the evidence. It's not Trump's job to bring the evidence to a journalist. But you see, they're all saying, we don't see any evidence. So they know that it's widespread election fraud. There's tons of videos out of people confessing. It's everywhere, and they know this. So they want to get ahead of what's coming out in the court system when all this stuff is revealed. So they figure if they call it, they can have the American public think that Joe Biden is the president, and they think that's going to put pressure on President Trump to concede. But President Trump's not going to concede. So that's why they were trying to get him to concede in the first place. Concedes so that this stuff doesn't come out. They don't want this stuff to come out. So that is the reason. There was two reasons they wanted to try to call it, because it's not over yet. But they can call it all they want to. If they want the perception to go out to the public, and they believe it, especially Democrats. They're already rejoicing. I've gotten text messages. They're all rejoicing, and they don't, because they're not paying attention. They only hear what they're being told in the media, and Fox News is all in on this too. Now you got to remember, Fox News is not the same Fox News. A lot of people say, what happened to Fox News? Well, I don't know whether you know this or not, but Fox News was bought out by Murdoch. Those are liberals, and they don't hide the fact that they're liberals, and they support Joe Biden. They even have given to his campaign. So liberals have bought Fox News. So that's why Fox News pulled away from conservatism. Now they still have some conservatives that are on there, and then they have those never Trumpers on there that hate Trump. They call themselves Republicans and they hate Trump. But Fox News owners are liberal. So all the media is in on this because they want to get rid of President Trump, and they don't care. This is the sad part. They don't care that it's election fraud. Whatever it takes to get rid of Trump that's all they care about. Now, I know, and you know, that Democrats never have cared about the Constitution, the law and order and anything. They just want their way. But we have, I believed that the Republican Party is the party that cares about our Constitution, our rights, and all of that. And so somebody has to be the adult and hold up the rights. So usually that's the Republicans. But when you yourself are corrupt and you don't want to be found out, then you're going to join in with everybody else. So what I'm saying is the reason they're so quick to want to call this election, because it's not only election fraud it's going to be exposed. I don't know when, but it's going to get exposed. You cannot continue to hide corruption and it never gets exposed. Now, what's going to happen? Is anybody going to be prosecuted? Who knows? Because we already see all this other corruption that has come out under Trump. You know, it took Donald Trump. This is scary to me. Now, I always have known that there's corruption in our government, but I didn't know it was so pervasive and so deep until Trump came on the scene. And see, this is also scary to me, is that they are willing to cheat the American people out of a president that they know won the election, just to cover up their own corruption. I'm wondering, what else do we not know? I'm afraid to even find out, because this is too much. Because the whole Russia collusion, the whole FBI why would they come up with all that to begin with? Why were they trying to make up something on the Trump campaign? Why? What was in it for everybody? What was in it for the CIA and all the intelligence community? Why did they have to do it anyway? There had to be a reason that they didn't want this man to be president. So I'm wondering, it's not just his personality, people. Get off that. It's not just his personality. Nobody goes to this extreme to get rid of somebody just because of their personality. It's something, because they can never point to his record. I mean, his record is stellar. Right now, his unemployment is 6.9, coming out of a pandemic. Okay, so it's not that. That's why they never talk about his policies. But if you have people in office, other politicians, you got people in the media that knows what all the peace deals he's brokered. They know all this positive stuff for the U.S. Everything he's done has been positive. They can't point to not one policy that this man has put on the books that's hurt the U.S. Yet they ignore all that and they do all they can to get rid of him. That's scary to me. Now let's go back and see what happened. Now remember, I already told you that they were going to use the ballots, mail-in ballots, to cheat. I already knew that. And then, so let's go step by step. So let me go back to when Ginsburg died. And so we got Amy Barrett. Okay. The first thing the Democrats kept saying to her is, will you recuse yourself from any election issues? Okay. Because Trump had already told him that they were going to cheat. Anybody with a brain knew that they were going to use these ballots to cheat. So that's the first thing they started asking her, Barrett, will you recuse yourself? Why would they bring that up, people? Why did they need her to recuse? Because they knew John Roberts would go with the Democrats. So now that you got another conservative, that was going to stop it. So they asked her that. Then we got Nancy Pelosi a couple of days before the election come out and say with her own mouth, it doesn't matter what the count is on election night, Joe Biden will be confirmed and sworn in as the president. Okay, she said that. Now, I did a video and said, and I kind of laughed. I said, well, she basically told us what they were going to do. But what I didn't know, what I didn't see coming was on election night, Trump was winning all the battleground states. And everybody knew it. You could even see it in the eyes because I was going back and forth and CNN and they were like, here we go again, 2016. They all saw it coming. Trump was winning in every battleground state. But what I didn't see coming was then they stopped it. They stopped the count. And everybody said, what's going on? Why are they stopping? Because he was heading for that landslide. And they knew that. They stopped the counting. And then the next morning we wake up, all these thousands of ballots show up for Joe Biden. 100%, not one for Trump. So that's when all the stuff started happening. So step by step, this is what's happening. This is how we got where we are right now. So, of course, Trump comes out and he tells them, didn't I predict this? I mean, this was going to happen. But I didn't know. I didn't even see that they were going to stop the count right when he was winning. And the reason they stopped it is because they had to figure, okay, he's getting ready to win this thing. Okay, we know we got to get all these ballots because that let them know how many ballots they needed, people. So now, then Fox News is in on it too. They call Arizona and Trump was in the lead. But they still called Arizona. They called Virginia. This is the one that really got me. They called Virginia and Trump was like 20 points ahead, basically. And they had it on the screen. Trump was 20 points ahead in Virginia and they still called it for Biden. Who does that? Now, they could say, well, you know, that's a blue state, so he was probably going to win it. That's not how you call an election. You wait till it comes, you know, who calls an election with, call someone the winner when the other person is in the lead. They did that with Virginia. That was showing us, hey, it's getting ready to get funny here. Okay, Trump won Florida really early. What happened? Fox News wouldn't call it for him. I mean, even the other channels, news stations were calling it for, you know, gave him Florida. But Fox News wouldn't. They wouldn't give it to him. And then Fox News was the one that gave Biden. So what I'm figuring out here, you have to use your brain and look at what's happening and then go step by step. What I'm figuring out here is all the media were in on it. Because they figure if they call the election, if they call the winner, then that's the winner. And that's to get it into the public's, you know, get it into the minds of the public. Because that's who they're trying to influence is the public. And I had read like a couple of days before anyway that they were saying that they would be the one that called the winners. The media would be the one. And if Trump tried to call himself the winner, that they were going to block him. Well, he was getting ready to win on election night. He was getting ready to win. So now there's voter fraud, ballot fraud all over this place. There's glitches in systems. It seems like all the glitchers go to the Democrats. Whenever there's a glitch, it favors the Democrat. Everything favors the Democrat. If they find 2,000 or 20,000 ballots, they're all for the Democrat. So we all know that. We all know this is election fraud. But what's scary to me is that nobody wants it to come out because this is how badly they want to get rid of our president. And this is scary to me because it's not only election fraud that they're covering up, it's other fraud. And so it's not over, though, until it's all counted. All the ballots are counted, everything. And they knew this, because Trump is not playing. See, he doesn't play. And so when his lawyers all got together and they have this case, everything's going up Monday to all the courts and all, the media got together and said, okay, we better call this. Because if we don't call this, the public will find out about this election fraud. And if we put it in the public's mind that Joe Biden has won, then they'll put pressure on President Trump to concede. President Trump's not going to concede. And another thing I'm thinking they're giving the signal to Black Lives Matter and Antifa. Trump wants to concede, start rioting. Because see, Trump is still the president regardless until January 20th. So there's no handcuffing Trump and marching him out of the White House, not until January 20th. But they want to put it in the minds of the people, hey, he won't concede. He's illegally in the White House. You understand? So they could start the rioting. This is what this is all about. Starting riots and convincing people that Joe Biden is now the president. Even though, and they haven't even completed all the counting in Pennsylvania and all the other places. But they had to get this out there, and that ought to scare every American citizen, that they're willing to go through all of this to cover up election fraud just to get rid of a president. What else are they covering up? These are scary times, people. These are scary times. These are scary times. And I'm going to tell you this. God is not going to allow all this stuff to stay covered up. It's going to come out. No matter how much they try to hide it, no matter what they do, in the end, God always wins.